Hey, welcome to day 102 of this Spiritual Awakening Journal Daily Prompts for Lightworkers with your soul sister, Iona May. So today on the Soul Legacy TV Spiritual Business Success with Iona, we are on Environmental Freedom Thursday. So let me just straighten my camera because I think I'm on the wrong. So if you have been journaling with me, if you've been coming live with me, then welcome back. If you are watching on the replay and you don't tend to catch me in my UK time zones, then that's okay. If you're watching in the Soul Legacy Academy, or if you're watching in the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Network, then welcome. So today we're going to continue on what we do every single day on the Soul Legacy TV, and that is journaling on our spiritual awakening path, our journey, unfolding, raising our vibration, making sense of our spiritual awakening journey, going on that spiritual ascension journey as well, and alchemizing the process. So what I use for my journal is a notebook currently, and I have this, I call it the Soul Legacy Journal because I'm the founder of the Soul Legacy Academy, and everything I do has soul in it. So within the Soul Legacy Journal, this is a notebook version. I actually have a co-authored book called the Soul Legacy Journal, Spiritual Awakening Stories of 365. And I actually host the #1 Spiritual Awakening Annual YouTube Summit, where spiritual YouTubers, lightworkers, spiritual leaders, healers, teachers share their spiritual awakening story. So we can continue on the journey. We have an after show, spiritual ascension after show, and a spiritual alchemy giveaway. All of the links, everything that I share will be in the comments, or in the pinned comment, or in the description of this video. So if you are new to me, consider subscribing to the channel and coming and sharing your spiritual awakening story, because there's a shift that's happening globally. Whenever you're watching this, there's always a shift, but there's been a massive shift as we've gone through the pandemic. Everybody's environments change, where we're working, where we're living, what we're doing, all the things. The environment for how we work has shifted, and some of the things have stayed. The environment, the whole globe, the whole planet was affected by the pandemic, all obviously at the same time. So there's a lot of shifts that have gone on since the pandemic in environmental wise, for us, for work, for people that work from home, and the things that we consume, for our children, all of the things that we thought that once would always be and are not, things that we thought that would never happen. So like, I don't know if you journaled through that process, but I did, and I loved it. And so this is this notebook called Spiritual Awakening Story, 365 Days of Your Spiritual Awakening Story. So what did you do during that shift in that pandemic? What are you doing as differently as a result? I pivoted a lot during that during the pandemic. I pivoted to focus on YouTube. So this spiritual awakening journaling prompts and me coming live daily is about me sharing the process of my life, what I'm going through, knowing what you're going through right now in real time or on the real replay. And I call this a co-created soul path to spiritual alchemy for light workers, because I believe it really is. And so if you've been following me, you'll know that I break down each area of our lives, my life, your life. And Robin Knott is messaging me on Telegram. She's our lead soul guide instructor. I just want to put that out there. So I'm not on the socials. I am on Telegram. We have the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Network on Telegram, and a community as well. So if you want to gather and have more conversations, there's definitely ways for you to do that. So on the Soul Legacy TV, on the YouTube channel, what I do is break our life down into 7 areas, which I call the 7 freedoms for short. And I talk about spiritual awakening, these daily journal prompts for light workers. So if you're a light worker, you're all good, I gotcha. So when I work into my light work, it's through a spiritual awakening. We break them down into what I call the intentional living codes. And there's an acronym at the end of the intentional living codes called the Cheers to Financial Freedom frequency. And so going through an awakening, obviously a shift on the planet, when we're at lower vibrational frequency collectively, that frequency, we want to always be raising it, right? And so that's the vision that I had. That was my shift, my awakening, my soul mission, my big vision for us to come together. I know that every single person on the planet is not going to come together at the exact same time, but I don't know what Robin is saying. Robin, £1,000. So yeah, I can't envision that necessarily. Not say it will never ever happen, but every single person at the same time. But as many people as we can reach together, and light workers, and us doing our light work. That's the vision that I have as we go through this spiritual awakening. And we talk about environmental freedom every single Thursday. And we come back every single Thursday, and we revisit it, and we share, you know, what we're doing in our environment individually and also collectively. And I feel like we have a responsibility to do that. So I break our life down into our light work and our lifestyle, and the 7 areas, and the acronym, the Cheers of Financial Freedom Frequency. The C stands for contribution. We talk about contribution freedom on a Monday as the Spiritual Awakening Journal prompts. And I daily live, right, insert in real time. So the reason why I do it live is so I can just share, and you can actively comment. You can, whenever you come across this, you can come for the next Thursday and connect with me real time and have a conversation. On Tuesdays, we talk about health freedom. On Wednesdays, we talk about emotional freedom. On Thursdays, this is environmental freedom. Fridays, relationship freedom, which is my favorite day. I've got an exciting one for Friday. And then we've got spiritual freedom and financial freedom. So let's get into the format of the Spiritual Awakening Journal prompts. There's one primary focus, and then there's 3 sections. So the primary focus of going through the Spiritual Awakening Journal with me and using these prompts is to launch, lead, and leave our soul legacy with ease, grace, and flow. And Robin's still messaging me on Telegram, and I can't click out on it and say to her, look, I'm live. I love you, Robin. So let me just give Robin a shout out. So Robin is our lead soul guided instructor. She is the founder of the energyhealingschool.com, founder and facilitator of that. She also has a spiritual business and a spiritual YouTube channel. And she talks about energy healing, and energy healing as a lifestyle. And so Robin and I have worked together for a while now, and we have a beautiful vision that we have merged our movements, merged our soul work in the most beautiful way. So for me, it's environmental freedom today. And on Robin's channel, it is heart chakra healing Thursdays. So there's a lot of love that is shared between Robin and I, a lot of conversations, a lot of heartfelt, a lot of energy that is shared. I'm in the UK and Robin's in the States. And so Robin shares that, you know, our environment starts here, within our mind, but here. And you know, how we're thinking, how we're feeling, what we believe, all the energy that we have just emanates, and we emit that frequency, I say. So the purpose is to launch, lead, and leave your soul legacy with ease, grace, and flow. If your energy is blocked, and Robin's talking about the 7 chakras that are aligned with the spine every day, how they're interwoven, and how this energy goes round in this kind of figure of 8. If your energy is blocked in that launching, leading, and leaving your soul legacy with ease, grace, and flow, it's going to be harder. And Robin talks about being the best version of you, being the best you, and she uses that acronym for the chakras, the reverse up. So she'll talk about that. So subscribe to Robin's channel, Robin Not. And so that's the purpose of the Spiritual Awakening journey and journal prompts. And the 3 parts is having a vision, having your values, it being in alignment with what you're doing, and having your vibration raised. So that's the purpose. The purpose is to launch, lead, and leave your soul legacy with ease, grace, and flow. And by launching your legacy, I mean launching every single day. We set you up, setting the soul intentions for intentional living every single day. I can tell you how I'm going to start my day throughout the week. I can tell you how I've started my day last week, and how I plan to start my day, what fuels me. You all have heard that the most successful people on the planet have a morning routine, right? Well, we want to have a daily routine. And so how you launch your day is really important. And the environment that you're launching your day is very important. So I'll talk about environment and weave that in. And then how you're leading your day. Again, the environment that you're leading your day in, and the environment starts with you and here. And so how you leave your day as well, the environment again. So all of the freedoms, the 7 freedoms: contribution freedom, health freedom, emotional freedom, environmental freedom, relationship freedom, spiritual freedom, and financial freedom, intertwined. So when we do this spiritual awakening journey, it literally is awakening you to a deeper version of you, the authentic, real you that is connected, following that soul guidance. And so launching your day, leaving your day, and leaving your day. What vision do you have to launch your day, lead your day, and leave your day? Let's bring it into environment. So I have a spiritual vision board challenge. It's a 7-day challenge. I do it annually live on the Soul Legacy TV, Spiritual Business Success with me, Iona Mead. And the second week of September at 7:30 p.m. UK time. You will find that there is replays on the Soul Legacy, within the Soul Legacy Academy, within the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Network, and on a playlist, which again I'll leave in the comments and in the description for you to go through. Everybody's told me this is the most 5D way that they've seen of doing a spiritual vision board. That is because I believe, I used to call myself the vision coach and a vision and life purpose business coach. And they say, Stephen Covey said, begin with the end in mind. And they say that without the vision, you'll perish, whatever that is, right? Like, I don't mean to think, I just don't. Anyway. So just having a vision, basically, vision boards work. So having a vision, what vision do you have as going through your spiritual awakening, or you're on your spiritual ascension path, or on your spiritual alchemy, wherever you are in that stage? Because we go through multiple awakenings and we're making sense of them. What environment are you in now? What environments have you been in? And what environment do you want to go in? So I'll break that down for me, for my light work and for my lifestyle. So for me, in the past, I was living with, when I first discovered what was going on, like we are souls having a human experience. First, that awakening. I was not long got married on Cocoa Beach in Florida to obviously my ex-husband, and we traveled from the UK over to America, went to Disney, took the kids, all the things, bought the house, detached home the next year, and yeah, it wasn't a very nice anniversary, and we'd moved into the house in October, and I was in the April, and I was gone by the October. That was that environment done. And I was homeless, which led to bankruptcy, which led to all the awakenings in so many different areas of my life, from my relationship, my environment, my finances, my spirituality, my connectedness, all the things. That was the past, my environment. That's where I was when I first woke up. And then present, after being homeless, I've been here. I've been in this container, in this house I didn't intend to. When I look at the door, and there's like a patio door. When I look at the door, I remember standing there with my 2 kids, and we were looking through, and there was nothing in this room. This is a bit surreal right now. There was nothing in this room. And I've been here 10 years. My son passed 7 years ago, 12 days before his 20th birthday. So that's where I'm like, that's why it feels really surreal. You just don't ever know what's going to happen. So we were in the homeless place. This was being built. And one of the things that I learned along the way is, even if the vision that you have, I'm piecing some things together, even if the vision that the vision that you have, even if the house isn't built, it will be built for you. The universe will make a way, right? But if you have a vision, then it's possible, because you have the idea. So we look through the window. I can almost see myself and my 2 children from back then, and then the version of me now, and I think that's a really good way of thinking of your vision now. Like, what would you say to yourself, like peering in the house that you want to be in? So we stood at the door and we looked in, and we were like, oh, we just really want this house. But this ended up being the showroom, the show house for everybody to go through. We went through it with everyone. And then I'm still here 10 years later. I didn't intend to be here 10 years later. I want my barn conversion. That's the home that I wanted to live in. So I went from buying a home with my ex-husband to the homeless place to being here. It's a new build, it's rented, it's called a housing association in the UK. And then wanting to own my barn conversion, but not only own my barn conversion, own it outright. Now, I just said that, you know, I went through a really messy divorce and homelessness and bankruptcy that stays with you for a long time. And so it's 10 years on, and I've gone through all the things. I've gone through many dark nights. I said, you know, my son had passed, all the things. Me going through this spiritual awakening journal, it's not just journaling for the sake of journaling. It's journaling through life and remembering what that spiritual awakening story is. I've just told a spiritual awakening story, and I'm connecting it to where I am. So as I think about my barn, what would I look in the window and see, and what would I say to myself, like being that person, the version of me that would own my barn conversion. And that's been one of the driving forces for me financially, is what I went through. I teach my rock bottom. I went through a rock bottom. A lot of people try to avoid their rock bottom, you know, especially in the pandemic. There was a lot of stuff that went on, environments, people did lose their homes, did lose their jobs, did they lose a lot. And I'd already been through all of that. So I just didn't have that same level of fear. And so since being here, I came offline to help and heal myself first after my son passed. I did my work in the world, and I did my #1 divine intervention virtual event, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. I'm going to base this spiritual awakening journal on one of the episodes I was called to go to today. So I was doing my work in the world, doing my interview series. I interviewed close to 100 people in about 7 months. And it was about 7 months. And my interview series now, the #1 Spiritual Awakening annual YouTube summit, runs over 7 months with 42 guests, 49 episodes in terms of we have 7 after shows each month. My interview series back then was 49 soul speakers going for 49 days straight. Crazy. But going through that awakening and going through that experience has brought me to now, basically, and experience what the environment that I wanted to work in then, the environment that I'm working in now, and merging that. So the version of me back then doing my interview series, it stayed with me for all of that time. And the environment that I wanted to work in, I was in a soul-sucking day job. I was in a night job, actually, when I left my ex-husband. I went into a soul-sucking day job. And then I came offline to help and heal myself first. And I was actually cleaning homes. And while I was cleaning homes, I got to see how the other half live. I got to see barn conversions for the first time, going in a barn. And I believe that my ex-husband was a roofer. And so he thatched roofs. So I got to see other, like, the style of the people's environments, loads of different homes. I was like, wow, you know, I think that's where I'd got, like, maybe I'd seen the first barn. I'm not sure. But barn conversion has just come to me. And so I got to see in a lot of different environments, a lot of homes. And I went on this journey for like 3.5 years. And so one of the barns that really stood out, and I'd used to have a conversation with the woman that was living in that barn. So I had kind of that sneak peek into somebody else's life and somebody else's home. And she did business coaching like I do. We used to chat for absolutely ages. She ended up selling the barn. But that barn, when I first moved here, I was looking, because I would set that I was homeless, but I was visualizing. And I ended up working I didn't work doing what I was doing then when I was looking at the barn. And about 3 years later, I ended up working in that barn and seeing it had this blue couch. And I was just like, I felt like I'd been in that environment because I'd visualized it. And I said, did you have this home up for sale before with these blue couches? And she said, yeah. I was like, oh my God, things had evolved and come into my path, into my environment, into my awareness, to nudge me towards being in a barn conversion, cleaning a barn conversion. I used to like imagine that, you know, they were mine. And so one of the things that I wanted to do on my spiritual awakening journey was figure out a way to have a better relationship with money, have a better foundation for all areas of my life. So you'll see why the spiritual awakening journal and the daily prompts have me focus on every single area of my life, because when I went through my spiritual awakening, everything collapsed like all at once. And so it had me set a new vision for myself. It had me grow, and it had me work with a mentor, a Think and Grow Rich mentor. He taught me Think and Grow Rich, and he said, you know, what would you like to do? Like, how would you like to serve, and what is the financial contribution, the financial compensation that you would like to have for that contribution? And that's what I heard myself say today. Like I said, I did this interview series, which I'm doing an interview series now. And today I was nudged to go back to this one particular interview that I did. And the reason why I didn't know at first, I kind of had a sense. And one of my guests said, Iona, you have so much energy. You get an idea, a soul download. It was the Divine Intervention virtual event. You get a divine download, and I've watched you implement it, and I've watched you have the energy about it. And she actually said, when I watched it today, she said, you have an energy, an excitement about it. She said, you got this idea, you implemented it, and you're executing it. Not everyone does that. And I believe that people do fall by the wayside, that you want to start a spiritual business, a spiritual YouTube channel, a podcast, coaching, group coaching, all the things. And many people want to and never follow through and actually get to their goal. And so, and I did, I kept going. So I was like listening to this, and I was like, I know I'm going to get something from going back to that. And usually I'll read a book for each day. And I thought, no, let me go back. And so my guest had said that, you know, when you have that spark, she was given a strategy to for how to fulfill your life's purpose and get paid in the process. And she said, when you've got that level of excitement around your business, around an idea, around a project, around an event, like I did, she said, I didn't know what you were doing, but I was like, I want some of that. She said, you end up getting people on board. And I have, in my spiritual business, in the Soul Legacy Academy, that's one of the strategies that I learned about collaborating, connecting and collaborating with this Spiritual Biz YouTubers Network. That is what I'm going to do, bring together soul guided influencers to connect, co-create, collaborate, and cross-promote. And I was doing that back then. That's where the journey started. So she said, you know, in order to market an idea, to execute, to put everything together, you've got to have that level of excitement. And I thought, oh, I love this interview. And she said she was committed to her spiritual path. And she was so committed. She was like, but what do I do financially for work? And she said she ended up being so committed to her spiritual path that she had financial difficulties. And then that evolved to moving out, working in a hospital, in a psyche ward or psyche department, to doing breath work, to then supporting spiritual entrepreneurs with money, because that's where she had the difficulty. And I love that when we go for a spiritual awakening journey, whatever we go through, then we come back, we learn what it is that we need to teach, right? So as I go through life and I'm doing this spiritual awakening daily journal, it's having me reflect, it's having me go through my awakening again and again, and my ascension and my alchemy. Those are the three parts that I focus on. So I thought, oh, that's fantastic. And she said she was called to create online courses, to go out of private practice. And she said that she gave a gift for my summit, and then she gave a webinar, and she'd learned all these things. Amazing. And I thought that was it. That's why I was nudged back to going to watch this video, so I can share. The environmental freedom is not only your home environment, where you connect, who you work with, who you speak with, who you collaborate with. She was in the States. The work that you do, your light work, doing it online, creating courses, all the things. And I'm like, oh yeah. And then towards the end, she said, when she said to me, Iona, it's your excitement. And I was like, oh, well, my excitement comes from this. And I didn't even realize that I explained myself basically the way that I explain myself now, but my vision has evolved. And I was saying basically that I had the vision to bridge the gap from what I call, from training school to what I call vibrant practice building, vibrational, right? So I talk about your vibration now. It wasn't in the same way. And I said, you know, my going through everything that I went through, I wanted to support others. I had a fear of failure, a fear of success, and fear of selling. And I really wanted to support other people to go through and push through and create a space and hold space. And that was my movement. And so I still have my movement. It's a soul legacy movement, supporting you in escaping a poverty consciousness. And I know all about that, homelessness, bankruptcy, all the things, to have elevate to a prosperity consciousness, to rise and reside at what I call the Cheers to Financial Freedom frequency for intentional living. All of the pieces come together. And so when I, towards the end of that interview, my guest said, I love the way that you're doing these interviews. They're so different. Usually people just talk about their business on interviews, and I teach to start a movement with your message, right, in your movement marketing media kit. That's another 7-day YouTube challenge on the YouTube channel that you can go through. And I teach about, you know, the topics and speaking. For my interview series, the first one, I had a set of 15 questions, and I asked all the guests to fill out. This is before I knew how to do transcripts and all the things that I teach in the MMMK challenge. And they were writing out the answers to these 15 questions. I'd seen this done and it really inspired me. I was like, I want to have an interview series like that. When my son passed, I came offline and I didn't do the summit straight away. Came off for 7 weeks and I came back online with a different format. So I never put that interview series out there, those 15 questions. And the only time that I did that is in my daughter interviewed me, and I used that as a bonus in for the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Masterclass. It's a bonus gift if you're in the Soul Legacy Academy and you are enrolled in the Masterclass and subscribe to the community, the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Network. You might have seen that or listen to it. It's an MP3. It's actually on a teleseminar. This is how old it was. My daughter was 11 interviewing me, and she's now 19, nearly 20. So she said, I love the way that you did the interviews. And I was like, oh, that is what I really was called to do, bring those interviews. So I just went upstairs and I was like, in my office, I was like, let me go find these interviews. I keep all the stuff. And I literally just edited out the interviews. And I was like, yes, that is what I'm going to bring to my summit. My summit has been delayed. It's October 2022 right now. And my summit has been delayed till November. And I was beating myself up. I was like, I said to my sister-in-law today, because I'm fostering 3 children under 5, 3. And I was like, oh, I'm so mad at it. Like, I didn't want to push it back. Like, oh, and she's like, don't beat yourself up. And I'm like, if not me, myself, I'm just like, this is what I wanted to do. October it is. This is the season. And I realized that after I edited the questions, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to add this interview series to my book. So if you've heard me talk about my own book, it's called Spiritual YouTubers from Scratch, a soul-guided influencer's compass to leverage your light work and lifestyle on YouTube. I'm going to be interviewing spiritual YouTubers for the #1 Spiritual Awakening Annual YouTube Summit, as I said. And so that environment I really wanted to work with. I really wanted to bring people into a collective environment, spiritual YouTubers, and so we can co-create and collaborate and cross-promote and all the things. I had this vision for the longest time, and I've done it over and over again, and I've started from scratch, built it from the ground. I was like, oh, they can be part of the book. It's already a #1 best-selling book. And then if they want to share in the co-author book series, they can. I'm like, so that's what it was all about. Like, since doing the interview series, it was 7 years ago. I'd scheduled out my business for 7 years, for season 1 to season 7. And I'm like, oh. So I literally sat in my office, edited them, and you'll see them in the book. I love it. All that to say is, when you set an intention and you have a vision, I have a vision on my spiritual vision board to do the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Network, to host the #1 Spiritual Awakening Annual YouTube Summit, all the things. And at the time presenting, it's not done. And I'm like, that's why. I always get a delay and a pause, and I always figure out why. That is why. So I want to talk about one of the things that I'd set the intention at the time with my mentor, and that was through finances. And I set the vision at the time, bear in mind I was homeless, bankrupt, all the things. And I set the vision to figure out how could I make $600,000, because I charge in dollars, although I'm in the UK, a year minimum. And I didn't know. Would you know? Would you know how to do that? and it ended up being 50,000 a month. So we have the bank 50K in 50 days. So it's not 50K in a month, but that was my goal, 50K. And I figured it out. And so going back to that interview today had me think of it, because I talked about it on that interview. But last night I'd gone out on a day, and I'll talk about the Spiritual Awakening Journal prompts, Relationship Freedom Friday. So I'll explain more of this tomorrow. But I'd gone out on a date with my partner, who I believe is my soulmate. I'll talk about spiritual dating and the soulmates marriage CV. That's Awakened Soulmates, actually. Marriage CV, that's a spin-off YouTube channel that I've got, so I'll talk about that tomorrow. But we went on a date in an environment that I love, which my daughter actually works in, a restaurant. And it was just really nice. We've gone into one environment and it just wasn't very nice. We weren't going to eat there. And we were like, where can we eat? Where can we eat? And when we ate there, it was really, really nice. And I was talking to him and saying, you know, this, he mentioned something about earning and working and, you know, having a job that earns 500,000 a year. And I said, oh, I'd sat down once years ago and planned how I would earn 600,000. And bear in mind, my son passed, I served for a year, then I came offline for 3.5 years and cleaned homes. But I said, you know, I that was my vision. And I said, you know, I figured it out. And he's like, what? You figured it out? And I was like, yeah, I figured it out. And he's like, oh, cool. And so this was last night. And I was like, I looked this morning at what I'd actually created and what I'm actually doing. And I was like, holy moly, the summit is the piece that is going to bring all of us together to move forward, like that, just that wave. And I thought, oh my goodness. And then I was led to that interview, which brought it all together to share with you that what you envision on your vision board does manifest, but it might take a long time. Many people that come to me say, it's taken me years to figure it out. And when I did my last free chapter VIP day, I have a free chapter VIP day for my book. I have the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Masterclass, which you can come on for free. It's 4 hours of training live on the last Monday of the month at 3 p.m. UK time. I had that planned out on my calendar years ago. I listened to some interviews, and a guy had said that he had a call-in gym, and it was from a mentor who's recently come back. She taught me about doing joint venture partnerships, which I turned into joint vision partnerships, and she's come back into my awareness talking about summits recently. And so she was interviewing, her name is Milana Lichinsky, and she was talking about on this interview, and this guy was saying that he had a call-in gym and he scheduled out his business for a year. And I was like, oh, I want to schedule out my business for a year. And I literally had a big fat calendar on my wall. And I was like, this is when I want, in fact, it was before my house got repossessed. And I was like, this is how I want to do my webinars. I want to do this. I want to show up live. I want to do, and I planned out this year. Didn't happen because I was homeless and I was bankrupt and I was about to have my home in foreclosure, and people thought I was crazy. And now I can sit here and say to you, well, I'm live on the last Monday of the month. It's the same masterclass. I did the webinar on the same masterclass. I'm like, oh, okay. Things come really beautifully. So you can come through the masterclass, and I have a free chapter VIP day for masterclass attendees, basically. So on the last masterclass, one of my students said that she had been in business and trying to figure out this for 7 years. It's a long time, another for 4 years. It's a long time, and I've done the things, and I've done each piece of what I'm teaching and tried and tested it and proven it, even to get to number one, the best-selling book. My book is the number one best-selling book. I haven't even written it. And I helped 2 other people get their books to number one bestseller. One that was already launched for a couple of years, which had 5-star reviews, and one that was a co-author book, which I was part of, which meant we had 18 co-authors. So it's just every single little thing has come about for a reason. For even if it's taken you years, just keep your vision in mind, is what I would say. That spiritual vision board, wherever you want to put it, whether you want to put it in public or I teach you to do on the spiritual vision board challenge, to do a video montage, look at it, just get in alignment with it. make sure it's in alignment with your values. So vision is first, your values is next. And I talk about that on the Spiritual Vision Board Challenge. My environmental freedom, my value is being organized and efficient. And when I'm not happy about it. And so my value of being organized and efficient to move my summit back, when I've talked about this summit is October through to April, scheduled out for 7 years, I'm like, oh, it's painful. But now I can really appreciate and I can get really excited about it rather than being disappointed. Like, you know, I missed the mark by a month, or I've missed the mark by a few weeks. And, you know, I've gone through a season right now, unplanned, fostering 3 children under 5, twins and a 2-year-old. So it's a lot. So I'm at peace with it. Okay, so we went for our date. That was beautiful. I've covered that. I wanted to say, when my guest Catherine said about that, having that spark, I said what dulled my spark was list building. It was creating an environment for my light work that meant list building. I wanted to legacy build, and that is what has fueled me the whole time. So I've just invited you to my Spiritual Biz YouTubers Masterclass. It's 4 hours, and then to a free chapter VIP day, which is about implementing the Bank 50K in 50 days homework. It's not about come and sign up for my list. I've got a free chapter to my book. It's not about sign up for my list. It's like, go get the free chapter. Come to the summit. It's not about just build a list. It's about going through the Spiritual Awakening Journal and using these daily prompts to go through my co-author book series and to go through the summit and using this time so I can connect with you on a daily basis. It's beautiful. All right. So when I said I'll talk about this more tomorrow, but when my partner and I were on a date, we were talking about, you know, when we lived together, because we're not living together, it's very new. I've been talking about dating and all the things and manifesting, and I'm going to share more about the manifestation of that. It's like, oh my goodness. So yeah, we talk about living together, you know, van life, doing the things, having the vision. And it's just beautiful. The environment that I'm in, that he wants to be in, that we want to be in, it's just phenomenal. And having a retreat in Thailand, Robin and I having that joint vision to have that, it's just beautiful. So that's vision, values, vibration. Let's talk about vibration before I hop off, because I've got to go pick up 3 children. So vibration, what we do with our Spiritual Awakening Journal prompts, if you haven't been through this, is we rate our vibrational frequency every single day about each area of our life. And today, again, is Environmental Freedom Thursday. And remember, I talked about being homeless. Remember, I talked about being in this container. It's a nice new build. It's a nice home. And my partner was here and he stayed over for the first time. And it was just really beautiful. And for those of you who don't know, well, yeah, I just said, you know, I'm fostering, which means I didn't plan to have that. I didn't have an extra room to do that. So I actually changed my sleeping. So I've got my office, and I was like, I don't really want to have that as a bedroom. So I'm like, okay, let me do something with the living room. And so that's this environment here, living in the environment that's less than it normally is. And so he was here and he was looking, and he's been to the house before, but he was just looking. I go, what are you looking at? He's like, I'm just drinking it. I'm just taking it all in. And if you have somebody new come into your environment, you start to look at your own environment differently. The cleanliness of it, the quality of it, do you know what I mean? You just get a little bit conscious. I like his place. I go over to his place more than he comes over to here, and it's just really peaceful. It's beautiful. He said hit that. Oh, it's really peaceful here. And I was like, yeah, I like your place more. So it's just really beautiful. So when you think of Environmental Freedom Thursday, think of your immediate environment, where you're working, where you're sleeping, where you want to travel. Like, in fact, think of the routines, the spiritual rituals and routines that keep your environment. Again, I talk about being organized and efficient. If my environment is not organized and efficient, I'm like, So I schedule out time, usually on a Thursday, to do a deeper clean, to do things deeper. Things had got like quite a lot, like ironing, cleaning, for a bigger family. So me and my daughter lived together, and then we expanded our family to 5 of my great niece and nephews. So like, it's family. And so it's been a challenge to have everybody in the house, but it's been a beautiful gift at the same time. But it's meant more work, and it's like, oh, okay. what do I need to put in place? And so I was talking about, and I'll talk about it more on Financial Freedom Sunday, if being able to throw money at a situation to help with the environment, help with the organization, and being efficient, and hiring someone and delegating and all the things. So being able to do that is beautiful. So vibration, we rate our vibrational frequency between a 1 and 11. The 1 and 11 based on the vision that you have for your environment, the vision that you want to create, and then we start to bridge that gap. So what environment do you actually want to be in? Do you want to live in? Are you in the environment that you want to live in? Are you in your forever home? Are you in your forever country? Do you want to relocate? Do you want to travel while you teach? We want to do all of those things. But I don't need all of those things to change in order for me to feel a high vibration. And in fact, in order for your vibration to be on the same vibrational frequency as your spiritual vision board, you've got to vibrate the feelings. We talked about emotional freedom yesterday. Have the feelings of the version of you. Like I said, I'm looking at that door, and we were not in there. We were homeless. We're not in here. We were homeless. And the version of me, I had that vision. I had I'd started my coaching program. I got 5 clients in a week. My coach was like, she wasn't even my coach. She said, somebody challenged me to get, she was a coach, but she wasn't my coach. She challenged me to get 10 clients in a week. I got 5. That's how I started my prosperity consciousness program. Wanted to write the prosperity code book, never wrote it, figured it out. All of that stuff I share with my students now. The program back then, it works. I still go through the stuff now. And to elevate the prosperity consciousness, I'm still talking about the same thing. It still excites me to that degree, raising my vibrational frequency. So we want to raise our frequency and rate our frequency from a 1 and 11. How connected to your higher self, to your soul guidance do you feel? Are you guided? All of the step of the way, I've been guided by my soul. And so I say soul guided influences, I mean just that. So my environmental freedom Thursday is at 11. So we write an abbreviation for that, which is EFT equals 11 or 1 and 11. And I talk about this on the Spiritual Vision Board channel, so I won't dive into how you rate it, why you rate it, all the things. Rate your vibrational frequency, pop it in the comments below, let me know. If you are in the Soul Legacy Academy and you are a student of mine, in my bootcamp, the Soul Legacy Launch Blueprint, author and authority media program, or mastermind, 12-month mastermind, 12-week bootcamp or 12-month mastermind, I gift what I call the 7 Freedoms Frequency call-in gym, right? I got that name. It's a 2-hour coaching call as you go through your light work, build your spiritual business, build your spiritual business channel, become a soul guided influencer, write your book, create a program around your book, do YouTube, all the things. We actually focus on your lifestyle as well, and actually getting this into balance, because that's one of the things as I went on my spiritual awakening journal and journey. I wrote the things down that I really needed. I didn't want to just do my light work. I didn't want somebody to teach me how to build a list. I wanted somebody to show me how to launch, lead, and leave my soul legacy, and do it with ease, grace, and flow. And there was no one out there, so I was like, okay, I'll do it. So that is what I want to say about that. Your vision, your vibration, your vision, your values, and your vibration. To help you raise your vibration, we say gratitude. We use the spiritual awakening journal prompts on a daily basis to say, I'm happy and I'm grateful and I appreciate each of the 7 areas, each of the 7 freedoms. Again, contribution freedom. So I'm happy, I'm grateful, and I appreciate something for your contribution. Use that as your spiritual awakening journal prompt. Happy and grateful and appreciate something for your health. Use that as your spiritual awakening journal prompt. I'm happy and I'm grateful and I appreciate something for your emotional freedom. Use that as your spiritual awakening journal prompt. I'm happy and I'm grateful and I appreciate something for your environment. Use that as your spiritual awakening journal prompt on a daily basis. You journal with me. So for your relationship freedom, I'm happy and grateful and I appreciate something for your relationship. Use that as your spiritual awakening journal prompt. I'm laughing. Robin will be laughing. And then your spirituality and your finances. I'm happy and I'm grateful and I appreciate. If you feel like you don't have anything, and we all do, think of something in the past. I've just told you a few stories of my spiritual awakening stories. Think of something in the present, or think of something in the predicted future to be happy and grateful and appreciate, and feel the feeling of it, like really do. All right, so the last thing that because I've got to go, so I'm going to go through this really quickly. The vibrational money voucher, as we go through the experience of what you're happy and you're grateful for the 7 freedoms, That is what we put on our spiritual vision board. And the things that we put on our spiritual vision board, not everything is free. So I gift you the Soul Legacy Journal. It's a magical journal, right? And so every day, this is a co-created soul path to spiritual alchemy for light workers. So it gives you £1,000, dollars or euros every single day to spend on your vibrational money voucher. And you spend this vibrational money voucher on making, saving your time, energy, and money, and making memories with your soul clients, soul family, or soul tribe. You decide. You can spend it on any area, all the area, one area. So spend 1,000. You tithe $100, pounds or euros, 10% every single day to a worthy cause. The worthy cause that I tithe is to Cruise Bereavement Care. This is about you're going for a spiritual awakening and getting aligned. As my guest had said, she was committed to a spiritual path, but she went through financial difficulty. Then she ended up doing a program called Getting Present with Money. We all as light workers go through whatever it is that we need to do. Get a handle on contributing. On a Monday, we talk about it. And on a Sunday, we talk about financial freedom. And all of this is having everything else in between. It's having the reason to contribute. It's having the reason to have the finances, right? It's about making memories and having experiences while we're on this earthly plane. Tithe 10% to a worthy cause. Again, mine is Cruise Bereavement Care. Let me know what yours is. Come to the Seven Freedoms call-in gym. Oh gosh, let me just plug my charger in without like going off, because I'm going to need it when I go to school. All the things. And so that is the Spiritual Awakening Journal prompts. If you want support, we're doing this vibrationally first, the Bank 50K in 50 days challenge. If you want support, I have the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Masterclass again, where I'll support you and give you the Bank 50K in 50 days homework to actually build a spiritual business model. Remember I said, I sat and I envisioned, well, how do I figure this out? If I want to earn 600,000 in a year, what do I do? I've gone through so many learning curves. It's untrue to shortcut your learning journey. So I love the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Masterclass. It's amazing. And the bootcamp is amazing. I'll invite you to that. I have a 5-day challenge, which you can preview, which is at the core of my book. It's $55. The bootcamp will teach you how to launch, lead, and leave your soul legacy. Do it with ease, grace, and flow. I give my boot campers one page in the spiritual, in the Soul Legacy Journal, Spiritual Awakening Stories of 365, my call for book series, if you're a soul match. And in the Mastermind, you have up to 5 pages, right? So that's the way to bring all of this together. Do your spiritual business, share your spiritual awakening story, go out there, get featured, create a YouTube channel, actually really make a deep impact in the world as a light worker, and be in harmony with and in sync with spending your vibrational money, and then actually building a business so you can spend money for real and have those experiences as make memories with your family. If you happen to have money blocks, Robin Knott, our lead soul guided instructor for the Soul Legacy Academy and the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Network, has her own self-love movement. And Robin has a 5-day money blocks clearing challenge called, and she says that it's a journey of self-love to financial freedom. So it really is. It's beautiful. So hit Robin up. She'll support you releasing your money blocks. I've got to go and pick up 3 children. I love you. I shall see you for Relationship Freedom Friday on the Soul Legacy TV. And I'll see you on the summit. If you want to join, there's a playlist for the summit. There's a playlist for the Spiritual Vision Board challenge. There's a playlist for these daily lives. Like them, comment, do all the things, and let me know how you find it. Mwah, big love. Subscribe to the channel and share this out. Take care.